Hello friends. Hello friends. Today we will be discussing the uh, family study, which is a part of your curriculum, and this is a fixed performer in which you have to do family study in your uh, area. So otherwise, we used to send students in the field and allot them the family there. But because of the COVID condition and the prevailing conditions, we cannot send in our field practicing area. So we expect you to go to your neighborhood families or the families which are located in your colony, etc., and try to do this study as per the performa which is provided for this study, which I am showing you here. Now, you know that in community medicine department, there is a great role of the family atmosphere and environment in the position of a particular disease plays great role. So it is important to study the family composition in detail, which includes the details of the members of the family, then the name of the head of the family, the type of family, the details about the person who is the head of the family. So there's a fixed performer designed to do this study, and in this performer, as you can see here, the first column is of general information. So in the first column, you have to write down the date of your first visit in the family. Then you have to note the area and house number of the family which you are studying and the postal address of that family in the area. Then names of the visitors is also to be noted, and the family information is also recorded in this. Now, name and sex of the head of the family is to be mentioned here, and this may be male or female, whosoever is heading the family. You have to record here the name of the person, and in front of it, you have to write the sex of the person, whether he is a male or she is a female. So, like this. Then you have to inquire about the religion and caste of the person, because you know that there are certain prevailing customs which are common in certain religions regarding the food habits and the various other day-to-day activities are different in different caste and religions. So there is importance of religion and caste in studying the family. Then you have to write the type of the family, whether it is a nuclear family, that means the only husband and wife are residing there, or is a joint family, that means there are multiple married couples, maybe many brothers and their families who are residing there. Then there may be extended joint family or three generation family, in which the people of three generations, that is the father, his wife, then son, his wife, and the children of the that progeny are also So the representative of three generations are there. That is called three generation family. So accordingly, you have to write nuclear, joint, or three generation family. Then you have to write family composition. In this, a forma is given here in the form of a chart, which you have to write serial number, the name of the person, then relationship with the head of the family. So the first name will be of head himself, or here you will write down head of the family. Then here age and sex and educational level. So you have to write down the highest educational level of that person, whether he is high school or intermediate or 10th or primary or now if a person is not educated, then you can write, but he can read and write. Then you can write just literate. Okay, but if a person cannot read or write in any known or valid languages which are used in our country, uh, then he may be written as illiterate. So when a person is not able to read or write in any valid language of the uh, of any part of the country or for that matter of any other nation too, then he will be considered as illiterate. Otherwise, you have to write down the educational level of that person. And as I have already told you, you have to write down the highest educational level, maybe high school, intermediate, or higher secondary, graduate, postgraduate, or maybe technically educated like engineer, doctor, etc. So then after that, there is a column of occupation which you have to write down what this person is doing for his livelihood, that is what is his occupation, and the income per month in rupees for that person. So similarly, there may be different persons and in the family, and you have to write down these details for each and every person of each and every member of that family. Right? Then the total number of family members, here you have to write the total number of family members, and then the total family income from all sources. Maybe that a person is doing some job somewhere, then he is also having some agricultural land. So, or he may be getting income of rent from some houses which he owns, and like this, there will be multiple sources. So here you have to sum up all the sources of income and the money received from these sources, and here you have to write down a total family income of all the family members who are earning, right? Then the per capita income per month. So accordingly, you have to divide the number of the persons of the family with the this total income with the number of the persons of the family. The denominator will be the number of the persons of the family. So you will get the per capita per month income in rupees, right? Then socio-economic status of the family, as we have been told about the socio-economic classification. So accordingly, you have to write down the social class of the person and mention to by which standard we have written it. That will be mentioned here. Then average monthly expenditure. This you have to ask the persons, the family, how much they expend in food and other requirements, maybe clothing, education, medicine, treatment, etc. So sometimes the person do not have some expenses which are made every month, but then he makes a provision for these expenses. For example, he keeps a contingency amount for meeting any medical emergency or medical need, or every month he may not be paying fee for the children, but he has an average amount, she saves an average amount per month. So this is all included, and including all these things will you can get the average monthly expenditure in rupees that you have to mention here. Then environmental sanitation is very important from the position of disease point of view. As you know, that the pure drinking water and the clean water and clean atmosphere is very necessary for keeping the people healthy. So we have to take the first important thing, that is water, and you have to inquire about the source of this water supply, whether it is public or private. Then you have to name here the exact source, whether it is a tap or bore well or well or other any other source of water supply. This you have to mention here. Then whether it is continuous or intermittent, that means sometimes water supply is all the 24 hours. Sometimes it is interrupted water supply. It comes at only at a fixed time and during the day. So that type of supply is called intermittent, and that you have to mention here. Then if the source of water supply is at a distance from the house, then the how much what is the distance from the owner's house for this source of water supply? This you have to write like half a kilometer or 100 yards or 200 yards or maybe 1.5 kilometer, whatever it is, you have to mention it here. Now, if well water, a person that family is using well water, then you have to mention whether the well is a sanitary well or it is a non-sanitary well. Then whether disinfection is done for that well or not done, or it is just unsanitary well, and the water is being used for the even for drinking water. If yes, by whom the disinfection has been done, and at what interval it is being done, and what procedure is adopted for making the well disinfection. So this was about the source of water supply. Then storage, how the water is stored inside the house, the containers used for storage, for drinking water, and water for other purpose. So there may be different containers for storing the water, then lid present on these containers or not, then cleanliness of vessel, and then method of drawing water from the container. There may be separate vessel provided, or anyone can dip his own container inside it. So this you have to mention, that whether an exclusive vessel is provided for this taking out the water or not. And cleanliness of the vessel is also important. And method of drawing the water, and any contamination or sediment, you examine the water which is present there, and you might find some contamination or some sediment settled in the bottom. So that you have to mention here. And this will be true for both drinking water as well as the water used for other purposes. Then any method of disinfection which the family members are using inside the house, maybe that they have applied some water filter or any other arrangement for purification of water, disinfection of water, and you have to mention it here and what exactly that is. So then any other point which you think important regarding the water supply and source, etc., that also you have to mention. Then cleanliness of utensil is important, whether the utensils are clean or dirty, whether the cleanness is good or poor. So that you have to mention utensils cleaned by what is the thing which is used for cleaning the utensils, like ash maybe washing powder or other things which may be utilized for cleaning the utensil, that you have to mention here. Then whether the drainage is provided or not. There may be nil, there will be no drain available in the house, and water may be spilling here and there, and maybe going to accumulate at some low down area, and there may be drain. So whether this drainage system is there, then whether it is a closed drainage system or open drainage system, that you have to mention. Then whether there is any soakage pit, etc. in the house or not. This also you have to mention. Then what is the method of refuse disposal adopted in that house? Whether they throw it indiscriminately on the road after cleaning the house, or there is a public bin, or in which they throw it, or there is a separate bin inside the house itself, with which they collect the garbage and then they dispose it off, or whether there is any garbage heap around the house, because that is a source of fly breeding and can spread number of diseases in the family. Now, human excreta disposal is very, very important from disease prevention point of view. So first thing which you have to inquire is whether they have a latrine in their house, yes or no. If yes, then whether they use a public latrine or they are having a private latrine of their own in their house itself. Then whether the latrine is service type or not non-service type. That means the in the service type conservation latrines, it is cleaned by the human being who comes daily to collect the this fecal material, and that is at most of the places these are now obsolete, but there may be present in some rural areas or in some very low type of families, families of low socio-economic status. They might be having such type of latrine, or there is non-service type of latrine, that is sanitary latrine, which is commonly used nowadays. Then the use by children, women, adult males, or old people, whether this is used by everybody or all the numbers. If private latrine, then what is the cleanliness, whether it is a clean or a dirty, unhygienic place to examine, then whether it is good, cleanliness is good, adequate, or poor. In these three grades, you have to specify it. If there is no latrine, then specify the further important details regarding the excreta disposal. Then how they wash their hands, practice of washing hands after defecation, and whether they clean their hands with soap and water or with ash or something like that, and whether they clean it at all or not. Then the housing, whether the house is rented or their own, whether it is kacha or pakka, whether what is the approximate floor area of the house, then the number of rooms present, the bathrooms, then washing of the clothes, whether there is any separate place provided for washing the clothes. Then what type of kitchen is there, whether there is a smoking nuisance in the kitchen or in the other rooms, what type of fuel they are consuming for cooking purpose. This all you have to study and mention it here. Then light and ventilation, whether is the light, natural light is adequate or not, and whether the person can read at least paper in the darkest corner of the house while all the artificial lights are turned off or not. Then if we can read it then the light will be adequate, otherwise it will be inadequate. So you have to write accordingly adequate and inadequate, and the ventilation is the floor, the window and doors area is 2/5 of the total floor area, then the ventilation is adequate, otherwise it is not. So whether the ventilation is adequate or not, and the source, use and methods for ventilation, this all you have to mention it here. So ventilation, whether present or absent, cross ventilation, natural ventilation is there or not. Then the cattle or poultry, if they are having any cattle or poultry, then whether they are having it or not. First question, then if they are having it, whether cattle shed is present or not, this also you have to mention. So if yes, specify further details accordingly. What is the distance of cattle shed from the house, whether it is clean or not, whether it is floor is pakka or kacha, like that. Then pet animals, birds, specify details if any. Then whether the insects are present like mosquitoes, fly, cockroaches, fans, sticks, etc. Uh, etc. And the road contain inside or out around the house. Rodents, rodents are there inside or around the house. That is the rodent nuisance is present or not present. Then stray animals like the dogs, pigs, etc. Whether they are roaming here and there around the house. Then general comment about the environmental sanitation and of the good of the house, good, satisfactory, poor, socio-cultural aspect, interrelationship of the family members with each other, neighbors, relatives, any specific religious, traditional customs, festival observed or celebrated, and any other thing which you think important. Then knowledge of the family members about health, attitude towards immunization, favorable, not favorable, harmful, not effective, do not know. So accordingly you have to mark it. Then knowledge about the personal hygiene, whether they are applying methods for personal hygiene, or whether they know about the importance of personal hygiene or not. The knowledge about the disease, communicable and non-communicable disease, what are the diseases prevalent, how they spread, what are the factors which contribute to the spread of disease. Then causation, treatment, etc. at the time of first interview. Then diet, nutrition, food hygiene, nutritional beliefs, etc. Whether they are veg, non-veg, take mixed occasional non-veg diet. Then major staple food items which are used by them, use of seasonal food, whether they use it or not, germinating pulses, legumes, green leafy vegetables, tubes, tubers, etc. Any other specific then type of food used for cooking, practice of consuming stale foods, then habit of eating outside, whether they use frequently, go to outside for using or not, and any referral if there is any. Then if referred, then where and for what reason. So this is all you have to study, and the date of the subsequent visit and observation and suggestion, if any, that you have to measure adopted and the action taken, etc. This you have to mention in the empty space provided in this form. So this is all about the family study in short, and any query you can ask further after this. Thank you very much.